Okay, welcome back and thank you for being here. And today we'll be actually design thinking is a basically initially it was part of the conceptual design stage, and slowly it has been popularized by IDEO and Stanford University. Currently, it is having 5 steps. First is the first one is basically to understand the user, and that is empathy, mapping the empathy, and then the definition of the problem, how to define the problem, and defining actually the problem is, and then the ideate is the generating solution, and the prototype is basically making some kind of prototype for solution testing, and then the testing is actually to test the solution in the user, to the user. So first one is empathy mapping. So empathy mapping is we are going to basically the aim is to actually understand the customer in depth, and what is the need of the customer, what is the barriers, what is the attitude and aspirations, what exactly they do, and try to understand and feel their pain points, understand also what kind of issues are there with the customer. And here we have a particular set of people for the particular problem in the case study we are going to solve it, and that Vikalp is going to tell you in more detail. However, we are going to use customer journey mapping. Customer journey mapping, we basically to understand how a customer, a user is going to use in their entire day, what exactly they does, what exactly he or she does, and how exactly this product is a solution is going to fit there.
So, since we have already had an interview and a semi-structured interview with the workshop staff member, so we all got to know what the problems the members are facing, and the major issue was that the lack of space in the workshop for the new machines to come up, and during the machining there is no place for the workshop members to operate and to stand. So with the use of that interview, we are going to now map the customer journey the journey of the workshop staff, and also we are going to first of all we are going to have the profile of the workshop staff.
Uh, the gender of the workshop staff is mostly male. The age profile is around 25 to 40 years of age.
Okay.
And anything more in profile?
Working time?
Their working hours are, I think, usually from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And a lunch, they also have a lunch break of 1 hour in between, that is from 1 to 2 p.m.
Okay. So what we have done is we have the customer and its profile. We are going to paste it here. Okay. Now see, since we have got the profile of our target person or the target user, now through the customer journey mapping, we are going to step into the shoes of the workshop staff and look what they do in a 24 hours regime. So we will going to categorize this customer journey mapping into 3 phases, that is before its time in the workshop, during the time where they perform actual work in the workshop, and after. So we'll start with the before phase.
Okay. After interaction with one of the workshop staff, we get to know that they generally begin their day by at early morning by waking up at around 6 or 6 to 7 a.m.
So I'm going to wake up in the morning 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Then they get freshen up, and they start preparing for their job to coming to campus for their workshop.
So
And
we
they-
can pinpoint that they are getting
getting ready for the workshop, and they reach the campus by 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
and mark their attendance.
Okay, reach the campus
By 8:30 a.m.
and mark the attendance.
Mark their attendance at around up to 9 a.m. and they begin their job from 9 a.m. onwards.
Okay. So
And
this is our journey before.
yeah, that is before starting their work for the day.
And during these activities, what kind of mood?
As they are going to start their day, they are in happy mood.
Okay, so I'll mark with a happy mood.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what the before.
Before that is the activity and their mood before the start of the journey or the day.
Okay. Now we'll come to the second phase, that what now they have reached the workshop. So this will be categorized into the during phase. So in the workshop, what are the activities they tend to perform in it?
Okay, after entering the staff members into the workshop, they make sure that every machine is being ready for the work to be done. Then after the machine is ready, they are going to train the students and the researchers for their work. So that they distribute their work according to the time they have, the students they have, and after that you need to maintain the logbook of the other works as well.
Okay, so we can pinpoint these into preparing of the machines. The first part, the second one is training the graduate and undergraduate students on the machines, and the third we can say that
Helping the research students with their project work.
okay, yeah, this one could be the next point. Okay, apart from this, what are all the other activities they tend to perform is?
As we know, there are a lot of machines in the workshop. Sometimes it may happen that some few of the machines got broke down. So maintaining that
Okay.
failure or breakdown machine.
So maintenance of the
Maintenance
machine,
of the
then this
machine.
can be one of the point.
Yeah.
They also need to maintain the inventory of the other materials of the workshop,
Like the tools.
the tools and the other machinery to be used during any operations.
Okay.
So this is one of the
So
point.
inventories of the machines.
Inventory management.
Inventory management. We can simply write it as inventory management of the simply one
Tools
word.
and materials.
Like inventory management as well as logbook maintenance.
Achha, logbook.
Both can be the
Logbook maintenance, we can also cover the bill of materials.
bill of material, consumables used.
Consumables used.
Okay.
Then at
Also,
अच्छा आप बोल last one कुछ सोच रहा था.
and also like in addition to maintaining the inventory, they also need to maintain like properly and timely discharge the scrap that is formed from the machining operations. So timely disposal of the scrap is also a duty that they need to perform. That on what timely basis they need to do it.
Okay. So I'll look into they have to look into the scrap management.
Scrap disposal and management.
And at the end of the day, while they are wrapping up the day, they need to again look at the machine, whether the machine is being whether the machine are being cleaned or not, so that the next day they have to again prepare for the jobs. So again, after the completion of job, maintenance of shutting down as well as cleaning of the machine shops and machine floors.
During the end phase of this during category, we can write down as the again getting ready the machines for the next day. Okay. So we'll also mark the mood of the workshop staff during this activity. And since we have noted down so much of points, so it seems like that the workshop staff is schedule is quite hectic for them. So
They feel lazy or
it might happen they feel some tired kindness. So we can write down the mood as a neutral to not so happy, a neutral phase. Okay. Okay, now we look into the after phase of after the completion of all the work in the workshop itself. Now we come into the next phase, that is the last phase, that after doing all these activities, what they are going to do next. I think simply they going to shut down the workshop.
Yeah.
Okay. they have to mark the attendance while
Leaving attendance.
leaving attendance also. Okay.
And they will leave for their home, and they will be eager to meet their family after the long working day.
So
And
we can mark that everyone after going to
Home.
before doing any
Ah.
works is in a happy mood.
yeah,
So
obviously.
we all can do is that he is in a happy mood. Okay, fine. So like this now so we like this we have completed the empathy and look into the all the customer journey mapping also.
See, apart from this customer journey mapping we have used, but empathy is fine. But we also need to understand what exactly the customer is feeling. Empathizing means with respect to this problem, like space is not there much, so it must have some effect on their happiness or working cycle or the way they are working, or maybe sometimes they are clashing with the material table or with other people, so it makes little uncomfortable, or they have planned something they are not able to do. So yeah, empathy means when we are going as a customer, so what kind of problem which we will be facing. They may be facing so many other problems, but with respect to space problem, if you have any other understanding about the customer, about the person who is that you can share, the little bit of observational or something which you feel that they might have felt.
Regarding to lack of space in our workshop, suppose staff is working in a workshop during his working hour, it may happen that due to improper placement of machineries as well as no available gas for them to work, it may happen sometimes some injury or sometimes some clash between two or three staffs may happen, that may cause some injury to them, and that will make them suffer, or in that case they will feel that the environment or the working condition is not so good, so they will feel bad due to lack of space and space management.
Also while interacting with with the customer here, that is the workshop staff, what we see is that they also complained about that while expansion of the workshop, it's quite a difficult task here because the doors are very small, and the placing of the new machines, it takes a tedious start. They have to break the wall and uninstall the doors. So this was one of the problem that they are also mentioned here also. What you feel when you got to interact with the staff?
One more issue that they have mentioned is that they do not have a proper sitting area while they are not working or during their rest period. When they are during the lunch period, while having lunch, the area that they have is like they have just made a sitting arrangement between the machines where they sit together and have lunch. So that area is not suitable or not proper for them to have lunch, and that also affects their the working standards that they have, and the mood. Their mood is also affected by that, because after that they don't feel that energetic, and not that they don't feel with that excitement, they don't work because
simply not motivated.
They are not motivated enough. Motivation is present to them to work.
Which definitely led to the lack in inefficiency, or
lack in productivity, poor efficiency and productivity of the workers.
Now we can say
Okay. So while interacting with all and noting down the actions of the workshop staff, we have completed our customer journey mapping.
empathy also, yeah.
Yes, customer journey mapping, and we can move to our next stage.
Now we are going to define the problem. Define the problem is basically we would like to see where we are focusing our attention on the problem, what exactly the problem is, and then we are going to try to solve it. So here in the definition we are going to collect the issues with this problem, and then understand what is going to the in-depth understanding of the problem, and then we're going to ask the right questions, and ultimately we're going to have a set of exact problem which has been defined. We define the problem, and that is going to be solved in the next step of ideate. So definition of the problem can be done multiple methods. So we are going to use two methods. One is this 5W technique, 5 whys, why it is multiple asking multiple whys. And second technique which we are going to use is this conflict of interest is another technique. There may be multiple other techniques. These two we are going to use it. And now Vikalp will be going to explain the technique, and then we are going to start the technique.
Okay, thank you, sir. So now we are going to begin our second step of design thinking, that is the defining phase. So since with the interviews, with the interaction of the workshop staff, we got to know the multiple problems of the staff. So since there are for multiple problems, we all can have multiple solutions also. But we are going to target at one of the problem of the workshop staff, and through that problem, while going to through that problem, we are going to use the multiple whys techniques, in which after knowing the one problem, we are going through this multiple why technique, we are going to have continuously ask about the problem, the root cause of the problem, then again why this cause is, again asking. So why and why at a sequential stage we are going to ask with each other, and we are going to reach to a root cause of that particular problem. So this is how we are going to do this multiple whys technique. So this is how we are going to use it. So let's define our problem. So we can all define our problem is that interacting with all them, we all got to know that is the lack of proper space in the workshop. So what we can do is we can simply define this as a problem, and through multiple whys we are going to find out the root cause of this problem itself. Okay, so we are going to start with asking the sequential whys. So the first is why there is a lack of space in the workshop.
One of the reasons for this lack of space can be due to the overcrowding of the machines in the workshop. As the demand for more and more machines increased, the workshop had to accommodate more and more machines within the confined space that is given to it. So that is why there is lack of space. The number of machines that can be accommodated in the given area are more. So there is a lack of space. That can be the first why.
Okay, so first why could be that overcrowding of the machines, due to which the workers are not able to stand. So where we are going to write our first stage of the why is that overcrowding of the machines. So now we come to the next level. So now we are going to come to the next level of the multiple whys technique, that why the overcrowding of the machines are going to is happening in the workshop.
One of the possible reason for overcrowding the machine may be improper placement of machine in the workshop, like in between, like suppose two machines are already being installed, and if some new machine is being come to the workshop and it has to be installed, so due to lack of space, it may be possible that in the vacant space between two machines, the new machine may be installed, and that will again occupy the vacant space or empty space in between the machines.
Okay, so we can answer that simple question, that why the overcrowding was taking place. You mean to say that because improper management of the machines and the equipments. So I'll write into that improper placement. So now we get to this second level, that improper placement of equipments and machines. So we are going to the next level, is that why it is that improper placement of machines in the workshop is happened.
The cause for this may be because of the during the initial phase when the workshop was being designed, there was no room for expansion provided. That there was no room for future. The future increment in the number of students the college may have, or the need for expansion was not considered in the initial planning, and that is why I think the machines are overcrowded and there is no like the machines are not properly arranged because of this.
Okay, so we got to the reason is that why this improper placement of machine is that in the initial stages while the workshop was designed, there was no proper planning of the future expansion, and it was not a good planned structure. So I'll write that no future expansion. You are going to ask that why there was no proper future planning while during the initial stages, and there was not a good structure. So why we are going to get to the next stage, why this happened?
One of the main reason for the improper future expansion plan may be due to improper plant layout in the initial phases of the building of the workshop that causes this no future expansion plan.
Yes, also, so like you mean to say that if there are entering of new machines in the existing workshop where already the existing machines are there, so that functionality of the existing machines and the space of the existing machines, the designated space is also getting disturbed.
Disturbed or occupied due to newly installed machines.
Okay, so we can come to this conclusion that why this so happens is because there was improper plant layout, improper planning of the workshop.
Okay, now we are in the one of the most important stage, that is ideate. In the ideate, we generate solutions. In the previous stage, we have already identified what exactly the problem is, and we went to the depth of the problem and then understood what is the problem. In the ideate phase, we generate solutions and possible ways to and remedies, and there are many methods are available to use in this technique, in this phase. Take for example, brainstorming is there, then landscape mapping, post-it notes, and gallery methods. There are so many other ways to do it. Here we are going to use brainstorming technique, and Vikal will go into write it down steps.
Okay. So friends, like this, we have completed our two exercises of design thinking. First is empathy, then the define phase. Now in the third ideate phase, we are going to generate the solutions of the problem that we have identified, the problem along with the root cause that we have identified, and we are going to generate the solutions, also keeping in mind the desired results that we want, that is new machines can be installed, more machines can be installed, and the space cannot be compromised, that is space should also be more sufficient. So we are going to begin our ideate phase with the multiple solutions. We can have many solutions of the problem also, and we can also pinpoint these solutions. We are going to write it down, and so that that will help in our next phase, that is prototype. So using the brainstorming, we are going to discuss with each other about the solutions of the problem that we have identified in the previous phase. Okay.
The solution of the problem, which I think for the space management, is that if we follow some standards for the placement of the machines in a workshop, if the authorities follow all the instructions that is particular given to them, then the space can be easily managed. And also if we have different size machines in a workshop, so if we do categorize some machines for the smaller, mediate and the larger ones, and if we place according to the shops, so for example, if we have smaller machines, we can categorize according to the placement where there is a smaller layout according to the plan, and we place the big machines according to the intermediate machines according to the other placements. So in this way, the space can be easily managed and overcrowding can be minimized.
Okay. So we can write this that standardization of standard rules has to be followed for the plant layout. Okay, fine. I'll write it down.
Like after proper standardization as well as categorization, there could be a like proper place for storing the waste as well as good products also. So like there should be separate room for where we can put our scrap as well as used raw materials, and there should be a different room where we can store our fresh as well as raw materials, so that we can easily use them without any hindrance.
Okay, so you mean to say that we can have a separate space instead of the existing one that we have, is that scrap is at a particular place and it is scattered.
Also there, raw materials are also
It is taking the much more space, so designated place, space or a room, organized room or a space can be there for the that. So in our plant layout, what we should have that this individual.
proper storage rooms were there.
Proper storage facility and waste storage facility, both for raw materials and inventory. And
Okay, fine.
okay, so so while discussing with the operators, we also found out that the sitting position or the place for the operators and the workshop operators is not sufficient or not proper. So we should also focus in the new plant layout. We should also focus on providing the operators with a proper sitting arrangement, and if possible, we should also provide them with an air conditioned closed chamber, so that they can have a break whenever they are on break. They can relax there, have their lunch properly, and plus we should also make sure that the surrounding atmosphere from the workshop does not interfere with that compartment, so that the air inside that is pure or much pure as compared. Fresh air is available in the compartment provided for the operator to sit, as opposed to the workshop environment.
This will definitely motivate the workers to be more efficient also, and they'll kind of relax there in their lunchtime or their relaxed time.
Break hours.
Also, I think in addition to that, what we can have is that proper air conditioning should be there, and and sound proofing should be also be there, so that the big machine is working. So in that space, no kind of a sound is enters to the compartment. So it could be a calm and soothing and relaxed environment in that air conditioned apartment. Okay, fine.
This will also help improve the productivity of the operators.
One of the solution to tackle this space management problem is that if we do have very small doors and big machines cannot enter through it. Also, there is a lack of space for the big machines to put up in particular space. So if we want to enter some big machines, so because of the small exits and the small doors, the doors has to be taken down. So in this case, the big machines have to be entered if you are breaking down the small exits and the small doors. Also, for the exit plan, there is no much windows available. So if we want, for the exits of the students and the other staff members, if we have exit doors properly planned, so the solution can be minimized according to the space plan.
So I think we all have concluded according the certain steps that should be have in the plant layout. Also, we can look into the ventilation of the proper ventilation of all the machines, since the machine is working. So ventilation should be such that the fresh amount of fresh air should be there in the whole workshop.
Environment should be there, so
Oh.
that machine efficiency can improve.
So the workers can work well, and the output of the machine, again, the operation is not hampered.
Okay, so I think we have got the many solutions and many features that our plant layout should have in this ideation phase. Okay, so I can conclude is that for the next phase, now that since in the next phase what we are going to do is we are going to have develop a good plant layout for our workshop, and for that, in this previous step, that is the ideation phase, we have concluded certain points that could be the features that we are going to use in our next step. Okay, thank you.
So now we are going to go to the next step, that is prototyping step. In prototyping stage, we are supposed to make physical prototypes However, just because that we have a lack of time and resources, so we are going to have either a virtual prototype or a paper prototype. So in prototype, we are going to take a solution, the best solution among that whatever we have come up, and evaluate all the solutions, find out the best one, and select it, and then make the prototype using any of the techniques which we are going to have.
Okay, sir. As sir has rightly said that now in the previous stage, in the ideation phase, we tend to have the various suggestions that we can use as a features in our next step, that is the prototype stage. In prototype stage, what we are going to do, we are going to, since the root cause of our problem is that we have an improper plant layout for the workshop. So in the prototyping phase, we are going to make a good proper layout of the workshop in which we can add on the features that we discussed in the previous stage, that is the ideation phase. So here what we are going to do, we are going to, on a paper, we are going to draw the design of the workshop that we think will be there. We each are going to draw it, and we are going to discuss with each other and have a optimum workshop layout that we can have. We will discuss with each other and we'll look. We are continuously going to upgrade it depending upon what each other thinks of a particular layout, and then we are going to design a proper prototype or a proper plant layout design. Basically, we are going to simply sketch on the paper. Okay, thank you. So first of all, we need to have the multiple exits. So what we have, one emergency exit here, one emergency exit. We can have this one.
Yes,
This
other one. Yes.
This is our second emergency exit. Then what do we need to do? First, do we have to look for the sitting arrangement, or we can simply go for scrap? For the scrap storage, we should have,
Scrap and inventory storage.
and that too should be at the one of the emergency exits. So
Yeah.
can we have here? So we need to say here we can do one fitting and individual carpentry, and this is the
Stay at the center in a longitudinal direction. Like
long
horizontal direction.
Okay, so you need to say this. If this is the shop, we can subdivide it into fitting.
No, not this way. I think in this other way.
Okay, in a longitudinal. Okay, fine.
So we have just completed the prototype, and then we are going to go for testing. In testing the prototype, whatever has been drawn, that will be shown with the user, and the feedback will be taken, and then the testing will be done.